All right. We have a daily review on a Wednesday, June 26th. The Nasdaq was up 87 points or 0.49% and closed at 17,805. But today we'll have a much shorter video as there was only a few stocks that were driving the Nasdaq higher, and there's a lot of damage underneath, a lot of selling. You knew this week was going to be, as volatile with the end of the quarter window dressing and index rebalancing. So, that's what we're getting. The mega cap tech stocks are driving the indexes up, but a lot of carnage underneath the surface. So, I never want to say discard a week or a day, but this week with the end of the quarter, it's kind of I don't know. It's there's just a lot of shenanigans going on. Let me put it that way. All right, I want to get to some of the stocks that are driving the market higher. One is Apple. I put this on the ready list today, because it's pretty obvious what's going on here. Is it the mega cap? If you're a fund manager, you have to have this on your books. So this is being bought. It was up 2% today. Nice move. It ran up following the developers conference, pulled back to the 10, found support, and bounced nicely. That's a nice bounce. It's up about 2.78% this week. So I think you'll take that. You can see the base on base pattern here in the weekly. So Apple probably continue being bought into the end of the week. These have to be owned. You can't get around it. Microsoft, same thing. This is just typical window dressing up a buck or a 1/4%, just gradually grinding and pushing away from its base. Slow mover, starting to find support here. The higher lows supported by the, undercut the 50. Now these higher lows, the low 404, and it's just every week making a higher low. Let's take a look at the weekly on this. Yeah, there you go. Since it got out of that base or made that low, each week is a higher low. So there's nothing to do there but count your money on Microsoft. And then Amazon is another one. They had a little bit of news today. There's an upgrade. We had this on our ready list a little lower. I want to say about 189, but it's still actionable there at the 191, 70 paint by numbers, buy point. I wouldn't chase this thing above like 194. If you miss it, let it go. You just find the next one. As Mick Jagger said, they come and go like streetcars. And Amazon, I'm not going to chase this thing. It's had a nice breakout this week, though, up 2.5%. Now up the last couple of weeks. Once again, you can see since it made this low, it's just making higher lows here. So Amazon, nothing to do once again, but count your money on these things. Google, I made a new high today, like Amazon. I think Amazon joined the 2 trillion club. Google made a new high. I think it pulled back though. Yeah, down 15 cents, but just peaked above, made a new high, then pulled back. But we had it there at the 178.77, and it's had a good week. If I go to the weekly here, 2.3%. So these things are all up more than 2%, which is a good week. We'll take 2% every week, So Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, Google, Meta, another one that is up 3.7% this week. We had on our ready list. I like it above 500. I don't like it below. It looks like, it's got the cup with handle, paint by number, $514 buy point there, and it's just a tick below it. So I don't know. It'll probably continue running. Maybe it said goodbye to that 500 number. You can see it's doing this little teeter-totter near that number, but Meta looks fine and still actionable to me. And another one is Tesla. Tesla, I actually bought Tesla today. Why? Well, because it broke above its downtrend line. I usually don't buy things below their 200, but it's the moving averages. If you take the 200 out of the equation and just look at this right here, the 10, the 21, and the 50 are stacked. This is looking like a start of a power trend. It's just it's below the 200, which is long-term, slow-moving average. The faster moving averages are telling you this thing's heading higher. See the 10 curling up here, the 21 curling up. And it just broke above the downtrend line. So to me, that was a buy signal. We'll see how it works out. Not a big deal. I could sell it if it doesn't work out. But Tesla, trading above that downtrend line, and it had a nice move today, 4.8%. Looks like it's trying to carve out a little bottom here. This looks like a stage one base. And anyway, an AI play. It's up 7% this week, not too bad. And then the last one is NVIDIA of the mega cap. It actually eked out a little gain today. Down in after hours, I'll get to that in a minute. But yeah, he got a little gain, not a big deal. The bigger picture here is that it broke out of this base and it ran 44 bucks from $96 to 140, retraced 50% of the move in 3 sessions, which pulled back to the 21 and now found support and bounced off the 21. So if it just trades between 120 and 130, that would be fine, but it probably won't. It's going to do what it wants to do. All right, I mentioned some of the carnage. I don't want to get too negative here. I'm not going to. That's why I said we're going to have a little shorter video here today. AMD just continuing to form a base here. It's going to do this. It's not a buy. It's just setting up in a base. So trades between 150 and 170. That's what it's going to do. So no great shakes there for AMD. ALAB. This is IPO stock that started off pretty well, but doesn't look too good now. That one got beat up a little bit today, and we saw some more of the okie dokes this morning. Like it's they prime it up, pump it up here for about a half an hour, and then they sell it right off, right? 45 minutes in, and it just whoop, okie doke, see you later. I saw that with quite a few stocks today, and that's a dangerous play there. And then ARM had a good day today, so that's positive, right? Up $4, 2.5%. This is actually getting close to that old 164 buy point. We got to look at the weekly here. Let's tone it down a little bit. You see, it had the big run up, then it had the big pullback, and now it's just formed a base and kind of settling in around that 164 number. So I like this. I'm not going to put it on my ready list just yet. I want to see this thing, how it responds between 160, 165, and see if that 21 can rise up above the 150 area and see if it can pull back to the 150, and maybe I can get it for a little cheaper price. If I'm interested in buying that. All right, that's it for the semiconductor names. I've got a couple of okay, I will give you some of the bad news today. These energy stocks just got pounded. This is Eaton, and it's trading below the 50. Adios muchachos, do not like that. Quanta Services traded down to the 50. No bounce here. So this is just one of these weeks where they're selling other stocks and to buy these big mega cap. And those mega caps are really expensive names, to be buying at any, so, they're just selling these other names to buy the mega cap tech stocks. And it's taken a lot of power to do that here, a lot of volume. And this is STRL Sterling, just squatting at the 50 here, doing absolutely nothing. CEG, this one got beaten up today, taken to the woodshed for a 5% down to the 50. It was there earlier, back here in June 7th, and then, had a nice run, now pull back to the 50 again. So that old buy point looms here, the 198.83. See if it comes back to that area. Just no power in these things. They were loved for a while, and now they're just they're not. VST, this one again, pull back to the 50, just kind of squatting there. The 50 is rising, so if it stays with the 50, it's gonna trade higher, but you want to see it bounce off there. I don't buy dips, I buy bounces, and there's no bounce here. These things are squatting, so I don't really care for that. Okay, I'm gonna get to some other ugly stuff. Celsius, yeah, it was up today, but this is what happens when growth stocks stop growing. You could see the deceleration of sales growth from 104 to 95 to 37. What's it going to be next quarter? So they're just getting out of this one. Looks like if you look at the weekly, if you follow Weinstein, this is like a stage 2 ascent, stage 2 climb, and then it got into this flat area, and now it's in its stage 4 decline. So I see Celsius going lower, but if not, and it happens to rebound and it has better sales, then you can always buy it back. But to me, this thing is it's kind of it's on the downside. And this is what happens when you mess with growth stocks. This is what happens. So you got to be very careful. Growth stocks are dangerous. They're great on the way up, but when they stop growing, it's painful. CROX is another one that I had noticed today that, people going for the old okey doke. You can see the first, 40, somebody called it a rope-a-dope. First, 10:35. So like an hour into the session, it sold off hard, ran up to 154.80 and closed at 148, which is the old buy point once again, right? That's 146.79. So it's just an area of interest as it's just a lot of shenanigans going on this week. That's why I say I was cautious this week. There's only, those mega cap tech stocks that are getting bought, and there's a lot of carnage beneath the surface. It traded down to 148.18 today, so maybe possibly back to that old buy point area. And the last one I'm going to show you, is ELF. This one, I'm telling you, the people at MC Stock Charts, that I'm warning you that this is going to pull back one more time at least before it breaks to new highs. And today, this is the old okey doke, and hope nobody got suckered into this. 213, ran up to 213 in the first 40 minutes. Whoop, came down, then pulled back right up to 213.48. And then what happened? The old okey doke. See you later. The rope-a-dope, huh? That hurts. From 213 to 204, $9 sell off into the close. So yeah, I believe that ELF is going to do something like this. Once again, has these sharp, pullbacks, and it rises, then a sharp pullback, then rises, then a sharp pullback. Now it's risen, but it pulled back to the 10 today, so maybe it'll bounce from there. I kind of like the setup here on the weekly. It looks fantastic, the nice symmetrical cup. You can see 17 weeks, nice little pullback this week. This one looks really good to me. But you might have to withstand, a pullback to the 21. What if it decides to pull back below 200? People are going to freak out. It's below 200. The 21 there is 194.66 today, going up, $1 a day. So it'll be 195, 196 tomorrow, 197 Friday. Maybe to pull back there by Friday and, give you a chance to get in, have a sharp pullback. But Alpha is looking real good. And I like a longer term. All right, I'm going to get to some of the positive stuff. The Royal Caribbean, the cruise lines are killing it. So just take a cruise, buy some cruise stocks and take a cruise, and you're good to go. Royal Caribbean up again today, new high. CCL. Yeah, this forming a nice base here. If we go to the weekly, you can see the base on base pattern there. Very nice. Up 14% this week. Thank you very much. NCLH. Yeah, just setting up in a base. It's up 7.5% this week though. So the cruise lines are doing very nice. Thank you very much. A couple other names. I'm just, randomly taking a random walk here. Netflix broke out of a base, pulled back to the 21. Found support, then ripped higher, now pulled back to the 10, and then found support. That one looks pretty good. Adobe, this could be some window dressing too. You got to have Adobe, one of the big QQQ names, and looks like it's had just a flat week, but it's definitely off the lows there. MNDY, some of the software names are actually perking up. They're really beaten down. Monday, up 2.5% today. Yeah, 2% for the week. Looking like these guys might be carving out bottoms here and just, snow. Yeah, it's up 1% this week, but man, I wouldn't, snow just cannot get out of its own way. Looking for a bottom here in some of the software names. This is, some of the beaten down stocks that were bought earlier in the week were some of the software names. Datadog definitely forming a base here off the lows of 107, but yeah, the software names are just getting, is having a hard time. CrowdStrike, one of the best of the breed, the cybersecurity for sure, and software in general, just forming a little shelf pattern here, down $6 or 1.6%, but not bad for the CrowdStrike. Okay, I got to get to the drugs a little bit. NVO gave back. NVO, I know it gave back like it was up 4 yesterday, gave back 3 today. Oh well. Has a little gap to fill there. It doesn't have to fill the gaps. You can see the chart is awfully gapping and very rarely fills these gaps here. But it does have a gap at, since we're doing this little exercise, 142.66. So it might pull back there, it might not. The thing about NVOs, I mentioned yesterday, the manufacturing, that's their long-term plan. And, they need that Catalent deal to go through, and the FDA, head of the FDA is known as Dr. No. She says no to everything. So if it doesn't go through, they're going to have to, play let's make a deal. And we'll just have to see what Dr. No says on the Novo Catalent deal. Lilly, again, just taking a breather here. Looks fine, man. Look at that inside day. Lilly looks fantastic. If you didn't get it here and you want to buy Lilly, what do? Kind of wait for that 10 EMA. You can see it's come back here a couple times here in the last few weeks. Maybe it'll do it again for you. It's a really hard stock to buy, but it's going to be a long-term winner. So maybe just hold your nose, buy it. If it comes down, you buy more if you have longer-term plans. I like to buy and hold stocks for a year if I can, and I think that's a candidate for a long-term hold, as well as Novo is. All right, that's it for the drugs today. I'm getting out of the drugs. I got to go to the CMG, the Flying Burrito. They split their stock. I think this is good for retail. 50-1 stock split, pulled it back to its 50, had a sharp sell-off this morning. People got 50 more shares and they're saying, hey, I don't need all these shares, right? If you had 100, now you have 5,000. That's a lot of stock. So it sold off in the morning. This is the opposite of what we saw with the rope-a-dope from ELF and CROX. This one sold off in the morning, found support, and then really had a nice day. And so the retail folks now that didn't get to buy it at 3,000 can now buy it at 65, $66. So good for Chipotle. I think once again, I think that's a longer term winner, for like a retirement fund. SHAK, which is not sold off. It's really sold off hard. Had trouble with that 100 level, like we see a lot of stocks do. And now it's in a downtrend. You can see the moving average is trending lower. The relative strength line is lower. Shake Shack, it's kind of looking like Celsius. And so I'm going to end on a positive note here. Wingstop just keeps grinding higher lows. This is what you see with, a lot of these winner stocks, higher lows, and it results in higher highs. It's a definition of an uptrend. Nothing to do here. You always want to watch it, but just count your money. I thought it would have trouble with 400. It did for a little bit. It traded at 400 for a while, had the little Darvis type of box, but now it's above the box, and I think it's headed for higher prices. Wingstop 422 will come back to 400 to its 21. Probably not for a while anyway. If it does, it'll be above 400. All right, that's it for me. Thank you for watching. Shorter video today. Window dressing. Just it's just the mega cap tech stocks are driving the indexes higher. So anyway, in honor of the great Steve Jobs, I do have one more thing. Micron reported tonight, right, man? They reported a stellar quarter. I know some people bought it in after hours. They traded down to like 130, which was the old buy point, right? They crushed earnings, they crushed sales. Their guidance was raised a little bit, but not as much as Wall Street would like. But this is basically just buy the rumor and sell the news. So if you had this, and this arrow is going to be going up, it'll adjust here in the next couple of days. But you could see this consolidation pattern here, the cup, and then it just ran up to like 150. What was it? 158 last week, 157.54, then pulled back. So it got a little bit ahead of itself, and now it's pulled back to the 21. I doubt I doubt if it gets down to its 50 tomorrow. Come on, that's 126. I don't know, it might, but to me, that old buy point is still viable. We've seen this with a lot of stocks recently. They break out and then they come back to their old buy point. So to me, that's still valid. And depending upon where this thing trades tomorrow, that to me is a valid buy point. And this, knee-jerk reaction and after hours to a strong number, I think cooler heads will prevail. And this is going to get back up above the 140 level pretty darn quickly. Yeah, it doesn't that though that report was strong and it should be rewarded. And this is why people have trouble with Wall Street. It's like, wow, my company reported a really strong quarter, a beat and raise quarter, and everything looks great. And they had 50% profit growth, and the CEO was ebullient on his conference call, but it sold off, because it ran up prior. And that's the game played on Wall Street that a lot of people don't really understand. It ran up prior and now it's going to pull back. But to me, if it comes back to that 130.54, even 131 or 132, that's close enough to pull the trigger. I could see it's 135 and after hours. So some of my buddies got it there at about 131. So they're already up $4. Anyway, so Micron, good report, good quarter, lots of profit, sales, everything's heading due north except for the stock, which already, made this big run up. So yeah, it's up 2% this week, probably down 2% tomorrow, just flatten out. But for longer term, I believe this is just, it's had a hell of a run. So what if it pulls back a little bit? If you're a longer term investor and can get this thing, near 130, I think that's a good buy point for someone who wants to hold, a stock for longer term. So anyway, another name that reported earnings. I didn't see the earnings, but I did see the reaction, which was, looks like it's going to slice the 50 tomorrow. This is AVAV. And this is why, holding through earnings is a problem for people. I don't know. Maybe it'll come back to the old buy point of 184. But, I've got to look at the earnings. I'll have more in the morning on these two. I didn't really have time to look and see. But anyway, thank you for watching at mcstockcharts.com. We never give up. And, we have 2 more days of this week, the last week of the second quarter. And then I think we get back to it more of a normal market next week. And July is historically a strong month, seasonally. I think we get back on track next week, and not just with the mega caps, but with some of our leading stocks that, are just kind of having trouble. Spotify was one of them that, I kind of like this one. Inside day today, but, it's probably not going to move and break out of that base until next week. So I'm going to leave that on my ready list. Just a lot of names on our list that are just kind of squatting this week and not doing much. I showed you crowd. Yeah, just kind of flattening out in a little shelf, type of action. Taiwan Semi, pulling back this week. To me, I think these are Lily, I showed you earlier, just goes up every week, but these are the leading stocks. I think they're going to continue to lead. And anyway, at mcstockcharts.com, we never give up. There's Bros 4146. Bros, I think another one of these longer term winners here. But the higher lows, folks, the higher highs made a new high today. So this is one of my holdings that I'm going to be increasing as it gets above this 41. Was it 41.15? Yeah, that was the buy today. I didn't put on the ready list because all the shenanigans this week, but a stock that I really like. Anyway, like I said, we never give up. Thank you for watching. Adios.